Fantasy football junkies. You are tuned in to the #1 source for fantasy prognostication. It's Testosterone Fantasy Sports with your hosts, Jeff and Jesse. So listen up. Here's your chance to gain the edge over the competition and dominate your fantasy football league. Every week we break down all of the matchups and tell you who to play as well as who should ride the pine. This is the joint that every fantasy junkie needs, so check it out!
Yes, y'all, and it don't stop. Testosterone in the house. Jeff and Jesse doing this thing we love to do, Testosterone Fantasy Sports. Jeff, I got to admit, before we get the show started here this week, I am completely geeked, man. I've had 2 energy drinks. I'm just literally buzzing right now with excitement. Talk me down from the ledge, dog. Tell me what's up. You're excited to be here too.
Hey, man, this is the show that we love to do. We do it each and every week just for you, the viewing audience out there. It's right on the doorstep of week 12. And my energetic friend, I can't talk you off the ledge, man, because that energy is good for TV.
Absolutely.
You shine like the sun, brother, so keep it up, man.
Thanks, man. I know I need to lay in a tanning bed a little bit. I'm feeling the winter come on a little. I'm looking a little pasty on camera, but a couple sheets to the wind, a couple Rockstar energy drinks in my belly. I don't know if I can formulate words. My mind's just running at 1,000,000 miles a minute, but those of you out there in TV land that tune in to this show on a weekly basis know the format of the show. We're not deviating here as the season continues to progress. We're going to talk in this first segment about our very favorite team. Damn, dude, I'm buzzing right now.
It's the Minnesota Vikings.
That's right.
Hey, Jesse, you mentioned that it's winter time right now, and winter came on a little suddenly. It was like, balmy and warm up until the weekend of the border battle, and then all of a sudden throughout the course of that one weekend, it dropped like 40 or 45 degrees.
Yeah.
And I was wondering why was it like that, and I figured out what it was.
What is it?
It got so cold that weekend because hell was freezing over. The Vikings beat the Pack.
Yeah, once out of 6 tries. So you're definitely right about that. But last week, things did not go quite as well for our favorite team. A lot of second guessing going on this week with the whole what if scenarios and what happens if, going forward with the Williams wall and whatnot. But we're here to calm the waters. We're not going to reflect too much on many of said mistakes from the coaching perspective or questionable calls on 3rd and 4th down in the 4th quarter. That's not what we're here to do this week. We've always been a champion for our favorite team. We've always been, let's look forward, especially if last week was real painful type of a deal. This week, Jeff, the Jacksonville Jaguars are on tap. Minnesota will travel back to Florida, the same flights that they took last week down there, essentially moving down to where it's warmer. This game, though, we cannot come home with a loss. We need to win. Yeah. We're tied right now for first place in a 3-way tie in our division because the Packers won a must-win game this week, Vikings at Jacksonville.
And we're really lucky that the Packers and Bears played against each other because we wouldn't be in first place if it weren't any other way. It was good for the Packers to win that game. Hopefully that's the only time I'll say that in a long time.
Right.
But we are still in first place, tied right now. So at 5-5, we head down to Jacksonville. Jacksonville was a perennial playoff team who definitely hasn't looked like it lately. They're 4-6 right now. And so when we go down there, I think it's going to be a tough matchup, but it's between 2 teams that match up really well against each other. So I believe that it's going to be a low-scoring game, and it starts for us at stopping their running attack because they're not that great through the air. David Garrard's efficient, but not lights out. And so I think that it should do well for us in a low-scoring game, and then we have to get Adrian involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Adrian Peterson, as we mentioned with the questionable call aspect from last week, in the 4th quarter, didn't get a single touch, man.
I don't understand why.
That's really hard to comprehend when the week before it was all Adrian all day, especially late in the 4th quarter on that game-winning drive. Adrian needs to be featured in our offense, and I hope the coaching staff goes back to the drawing board and says, look, let's not overthink this. Granted, Jacksonville traditionally has a pretty good run-stuffing D, but let's not forget Marcus Stroud is no longer playing on this team. he's moved out of the conference and he plays for the Bills. So we should be able to make some hay inside, because unless Adrian Peterson has a very good game, it's going to be hard for us to win on the road.
Yeah, and I was also kind of disappointed to not see Chester more involved in last game. He was monumental in our win against the Packers, and so I just think that, you know, his talent, we have to have that on the field more, and not just as a decoy. We need to use him to his ability, and I just don't kind of understand what the thought process was there either. But regardless, we're in a game that we can win. I'd like to believe we should win this game. Troy Williamson, of all people, has been talking all kinds of smack this week. And so you know he's going to go lights out with like 12 drop balls and 4 yards.
Yeah, absolutely,
it's going to be sweet.
He's going to have his Coke bottle glasses on and be trying to stare down a pass, and I'm sure more than a few will glance off of his face mask. But as we're saying here, I mean, offensively, we've got to move the ball against this defense. It's got to be a lot of Adrian Peterson here. And, you know, we haven't seen a big play down the field to Bernard Berrien in a couple weeks now. So we need to get Bernard Berrien involved early, because Gus Frerotte, he's got some warts, man. He's not real mobile in the pocket. I mean, he's been better than Tavares Jackson, but there are other playmakers on this squad that are going to win the game. Gus Frerotte needs to manage the game, cannot turn the ball over, and as you said, Jeff, stopping the run of the Jaguars, specifically Maurice Jones-Drew, is going to be important. As of now, what's the latest on the Williams wall? What's your gut feeling? Are we going to have him for this game?
I don't know. It seems like the league is being real touchy with this situation. They don't want to make a mistake. Mistakes for the league have been kind of numerous this year, mostly from the referees, but they really want to get this right. Roger Goodell's fairly new at his post, so you know that he wants to maintain that high level of standard. And so I think they're trying to figure out what to do on a long-term level when it comes to this diuretic that so many players need to use to keep their weight down. And so I wouldn't want to see Pat Williams not on that stuff, man. You know, he'd be like fat bastard. You know what I'm saying?
Get in my belly.
Right.
Get in my belly. Well, either way, it's going to be a really important game for our team going forward. We the following week we play here at home against the Bears, and this type of game, going on the road against a team, Jacksonville, that looks like they're not going to be a playoff team this year. I mean, realistically, if you want to be a division winner and get that first round playoff game at home, this is a win this squad should get, especially last week. Having lost on the road, it's tough to lose back-to-back games after your big statement win against the Packers.
We're 1-4 on the road right now.
Right.
And championship-style teams win on the road. You know, talk to the Giants; they win on the road. And we have to start getting that down if our season's going to go anywhere. It really starts now. We've been able to beat some good teams at home. We got lucky against New Orleans; they're a good team. We beat them on the road. That's our only road victory. So we got to get this one here against a good team from the AFC who's not having a good run. We really need to. And honestly, it comes down to a couple different things. Yeah, Adrian, but defensively, we really have to be on top. And you know what? I'm loving Chad Greenway. Cat had 16 solo tackles in last week's game. He's leading the team in tackles, and he's on pace for a Pro Bowl-style career. As a third-year player, I don't know if he'll make it, but he's speedy. I think we should use him to kind of contain Maurice Jones-Drew. Oh, man, he's doing a real great job for us this year. The youngster from Iowa is really impressing. So keep up the good work, Chad. You're doing a great job.
The other thing I'm going to be interested to see in this game, watching it very closely, the Minnesota Vikings on special teams have been absolutely atrocious this season. And Maurice Jones-Drew is a home run hitter. They don't use him in the punt game as often as they did his rookie season or even last year, but it would not surprise me in this game, especially given all of the problems that the Vikings have had on special teams, if head coach Jack Del Rio didn't put Mojo back there to see if he might make a big play or two, particularly because this special teams, Jeff, already with the season only half over, is tied for the NFL record in most touchdowns allowed on the special teams. So we have to lock that down. We cannot be letting Mojo run wild if he does step back there to to return punts. We have to win at least 2 of the 3 phases between offense, defense, and special teams, specifically if we're going to win on the road against a tough team like that.
Well, and that's an excellent point that you bring up, Jesse. You know, NFL teams, obviously, they watch tape on each other the game before when they get ready and they do their scheme. Jack Del Rio's wanting to probably look at that at New Orleans Saints game because Reggie Bush was able to house 2, and he's got a Reggie Bush type of player in Maurice Jones-Drew.
Very explosive.
I think that's something we really need to be keeping an eye on. We can't let that happen here in this game. And Tampa Bay did that exact thing. They hit us where we live. They schemed to beat us. When they looked at how we've been beaten in the past, you stop Adrian and you keep the pressure off your quarterback.
Right.
They were able to do that. The Bucks, that is, with Garcia getting him out of the pocket, and by scheming, watching that tape to see how can we beat this team, hit them where they live. That's how you win in the NFL. You beat teams by killing them in their strength. They got Jeff Garcia with no pressure. They ran the ball against us. That's how you beat us. And so it's going to be an interesting matchup here in this game. I don't think Jacksonville matches up nearly like the Bucks do, though.
Yeah, Jeff Garcia made a hell of a lot of plays last week in that game, really eluding the pass rush. He's a wily veteran. You know, it'll be interesting to see if David Garrard can make those same type of plays, because at the beginning of the year, it sure seemed like David Garrard was poised to make his career take that next step, fresh off of the long playoff run and the big win last year that he had in Pittsburgh against a really solid defense. So Jacksonville is a proud group, and let's not forget that Jack Del Rio, I mean, this guy cut his teeth as a member of the Minnesota Vikings. Their head coach down there has ties to the Vikings, and former Vikings head coach Mike Tice also coaches for this team. So make no mistake about it, there is going to be some pride on the line here, and I think head coach Brad Childress needs to come out of this game with a win, or some of the momentum from beating the Packers a couple weeks ago will definitely be forgotten. Well, people were ready to roast Childress after the game last week.
Yeah, no kidding.
Questionable calls.
Yeah, he's got some questions surrounding him right now, and it's going to be interesting to see. You know, I wonder if Jeff Garcia played at that level as kind of a showcase to us for potential next year. You know, it wouldn't be surprising to me if we made a change at quarterback. And as far as Garrard goes, that to me relies a lot on Jared Allen and the heavy pressure that he's able to bring. And thank God we didn't get a suspension for Jared Allen. We love you, buddy. You spent time in Idaho, my home state, and you're my favorite defender next to Antoine. It's just the best thing to have you here on the team, so we're glad to have you stick around.
Don't look low, don't look high. Just concentrate right on the midsection.
And watch some tape of Ben Lieber's hit on Aaron Rodgers. Wasn't that the best that you've seen all year?
Oh my God!
It was awesome.
Exactly. Well, now we've got Jeff pumped up to the point of where I was at the start of the show. We hope you're pumped up at home, too. It's going to be a great edition of Testosterone. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come back from this and break down all of the rest of the NFL matchups. And if you haven't done so already, log on to our website at testosteronesports.com. It's all about fantasy football for the rest of the night here, essentially. And then after the show is over, jump on to testosteronesports.com for the Fat Chat. We'll be back right after this. Want to win,
you must tune in
to Testosterone Fantasy Sports.